Okay, let's get into it. Some stories are just tragic. Some are mysteries. But every once in a while, a case comes along that feels like something else. Something that just burrows deep into your mind and absolutely refuses to leave. And the story of Elisa Lam and the Cecil Hotel? It is definitely one of those.
In that one sentence, that's where this whole nightmare really begins for the public. It's a detail so visceral, so stomach-turning, that it just immediately grabs you. It tells you right away this isn't going to be some ordinary case.
Because as disturbing as finding her was, the real terror of this case, the thing that haunts everyone, it isn't just how she died, it's what happened before. It all comes down to 4 minutes of silent, grainy footage from inside a hotel elevator.
To really understand that bizarre footage, we first have to understand the grim reality that brought it to light in the first place. You see, the search for a missing tourist ended in the absolute last place anyone would have ever thought to look.
So, here are the cold, hard facts. On February 19th, 2013, the body of 21-year-old Elisa Lam was found. She'd been missing for 19 days, and her body was discovered inside a sealed water tank on the hotel roof. The only reason they found her at all? Hotel guests had started complaining about the water pressure and, well, the taste.
So how in the world did a bright young student on a solo adventure end up in such a horrifying situation? To even begin to answer that, you have to look at the two main characters in this story, Elisa Lam herself and the infamous hotel she chose to stay in. On one hand, you have Elisa. She's a university student from Vancouver, just full of life, blogging about her travels, talking to her family every single day. And on the other hand, you have the Cecil Hotel, a place smack in the middle of Skid Row, with a reputation not just for being cheap, but for being a magnet for the absolute darkest side of humanity.
And when I say this place has a dark history, I mean its past reads like a true crime anthology. We're talking multiple suicides, an unsolved murder, and then, almost unbelievably, it became a temporary home for not one, but two different serial killers.
Yeah, just let that sink in for a second. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, and Jack Underweger both lived at the Cecil while they were actively murdering people. This isn't just a building, it's a place that seems to be soaked in profound darkness.
So that's the world Elisa Lam walked into. And it's on the night she disappeared that this story takes a hard turn from just tragic to deeply, deeply strange. It all hinges on the last known sighting of her alive.
She had her daily call with her parents on the evening of January 31st. Everything was totally normal. Then, in the early hours of February 1st, she stepped into an elevator, and the hotel's security camera recorded what would become the central enigma of this entire case. The sequence of events is just unsettling. First, she gets in and presses a whole bunch of buttons, but the doors, they just won't close. She darts into the corner like she's hiding from someone, then cautiously peeks out into a hallway that looks completely empty. Then she steps out, and it really looks like she's talking to someone, gesturing, moving her hands in these strange, almost unnatural ways. And then finally, she just walks away. And only then do the doors finally close.
And it's not just her behavior that's weird. The video itself has huge problems. For one, the elevator shouldn't have done that. Maintenance checked it, said it was working perfectly. You never see anyone else on camera. And here's the kicker. The LAPD later admitted the video they released to the public had been edited. There was time missing from the clip. So, what happened in that missing time?
Okay, so after her body was found, the coroner's office did an autopsy and they released an official cause of death. But for a lot of people, this so-called explanation, well, it just created way more questions than it answered. So here's the official word. Her death was ruled an accidental drowning. The report said her diagnosed bipolar disorder was a major factor. The theory was she had some sort of psychotic episode, which would explain her behavior in the elevator and everything that happened after.
But this is where the official story just completely falls apart. They say she got to the roof alone, but the rooftop door was locked and alarmed. How did she get past it? They say she got into the tank by herself, but the lid was incredibly heavy. How could she have lifted it? And the most damning fact of all, the hatch was found closed. The coroner himself said it would have been impossible for her to close that heavy lid from inside the tank.
So, they officially closed the case. But the story, it was far from over. After the hotel shut down for renovations, the strange, chilling legacy of Elisa Lam's death and of the hotel itself just continued to grow.
During those renovations, workers unsealed a room that had been locked up for decades. And on the wall, they found this message, just scrawled there. A message that seems, well, eerily connected to this whole case.
And even after reopening, the weirdness just kept coming. Staff and residents report elevators just running by themselves, going to the top floor. They hear strange noises in the hallways, pacing and knocking. Security cameras supposedly catch these fleeting figures, and doors just opening for no one. It seems like whatever energy is in that hotel, it didn't leave with the renovations.
But this might be the most chilling detail of all. There are reports that every single year, on the anniversary of her disappearance, February 1st, the camera in that specific elevator goes completely black. Not a glitch, but a perfect black screen for a duration that exactly matches the time missing from the footage the police released.
It all comes back to this one, single, crucial question. The official report says yes, she was alone. But the evidence, the elevator that wouldn't work, the hatch she couldn't have closed, the edited footage, all of it seems to scream no. Today, if you go to the Cecil Hotel, the water tanks are still up there on the roof. But one of them is different. The hatch on the tank where they found Elisa Lam, it isn't just locked anymore. It's been welded shut. A permanent, silent admission that whatever happened up there, a simple lock was not enough to stop it.